Welcome to day 235 of the 300 movie challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of December 2013, which was The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. So, how I said the first one was like decent as like a kind of like setup movie where you're like, alright, that was cool and it was alright. Now you can kind of see where this is
Yeah,
gonna go, right?
I really liked the beginning of that movie and everything, of which here the beginning was very confusing for this movie.
For this, like,
Actually, the whole movie is very confusing.
I feel like this movie is just like stuff happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like the individual things, the individual stuffs that does happen is like some of it's decent, but like as a cohesive whole, it's just kind of there.
It's not. It's
yeah.
not
It's-
cohesive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like how in The Lord of the Rings, the second movie, it's kind of like there were multiple storylines, but you could kind of see how they work together and how it can go about to all of them meeting up at the end and stuff.
Yeah, and
Here
especially
it's kind of just like, or you go.
well, I was gonna say that like I remember when we were talking about Two Towers, we were saying that like we thought it was probably the worst of the three, mostly because the story it was kind of meandering between multiple things, and like, but even then, it was still a good movie, and
Yeah.
it did get to a climax at the end with the whole shit. I forgot what it's called, but the Helm's Deep battle, right? So
Yeah.
here it's like stuff's happening, and you're like, okay. You kind of see how this is mirroring Two Towers, but you're kind of like waiting for it to make sense.
Yeah.
And it kind of never
And it doesn't.
does, and then it's like, okay, so
No.
we freed Smaug, and now we're gonna have this big battle and big climax, and it just stops.
Just kidding. The movie's over. Smog flies away.
See, you
I feel like the thing with that part. Oh,
no, go
you
ahead.
want to go? I feel like the thing with that part is the issue lies not in the fact that Smog gets released at the end, because I think if they intentionally were going to end it with Smog getting released at the end, it could have worked. But the lead up and everything kind of made you assume that there was going to be more to the battle and everything, like, because there's like an entire like maybe 30 minutes dedicated to like them just infiltrating the place and like seeing Smog and just like the whole gold and everything. And then he just gets released and you're just like, "Oh, okay, now they're going to do something." But no, it just ends.
It's you can definitely see how the problems of where this was originally going to be two movies.
Yeah.
Right? There's no climax for this movie. Like they try to do it with Smaug in the mountain, but it's not. It doesn't really feel climactic. It just kind of feels like a build up to a climax, which then doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
You're left hanging.
and then all this stuff with like, see, I could see maybe someone making an argument because like all the stuff with Gandalf and what he's doing and what the elves are kind of doing. It's like, okay, you could maybe see, oh, I guess this is building up to something in the final movie, but it's like, I guess, but that doesn't make this one less off.
Yeah.
So
You still
think-
don't know more about the dwarves either.
Yeah,
no.
I think the only storyline that I could follow was Gandalf's, because he's one guy with like one attendant. And he does like one thing. He's not doing 80 different things, because like I can follow Bilbo by himself. Like the whole part with him with Smog was fine, but like when
Yeah.
he's with the dwarves, like the collective dwarves that is one character apparently, it gets really lost,
Well,
and
'cause-
I don't really know what to think anymore.
because remember how when you were talking about the last one, you were saying how like there was kind of a problem of too many characters.
Yeah.
I feel like this is even worse because if they just
Yep.
added more characters, right now
Yep.
they added Tariel, and then Legolas is like doing stuff, and then like Gandalf is doing his own thing, so like, it's kind of different. And then like, but at the same time, in terms of the actual characters, what has actually like progressed for any of the characters?
Nothing really.
Nothing. Like I guess the plot has happened, but like it's just, at least in the first one, even though it did feel a little iffy, the whole thing where like, oh, the dwarves, they now like accept Bilbo as one of their own, right? Okay, so like, okay,
Yeah.
that's at least a character arc, even if it wasn't handled like amazingly well. It was something. Where here it's just like, here's some characters and they're doing things, and it's like, okay, I just kind of don't care.
It's such a
Yeah.
shame because, like, as a character, just like looking at his qualities, I really like Bilbo.
Yeah.
I just wish that there was something that he did that I could care more about because the plot is so convoluted.
Well, because like, okay,
And then it's yeah.
what has he done in this movie? Okay, he saved them from the spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He got them out of the elf prison or whatever, and then he went into Smaug's place. And like,
Yeah.
I guess that's something, but even then, during those times, well, I guess the spider thing was kind of its own thing, but especially during the elf prison time, it was a lot of focus on like Legolas and Tauriel and Legolas's father. It was kind of more focus on them, and then yeah, like the stuff with Smaug is fine for what it is. It's just you wanted more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really feel like
Like, if this was just a one-on-one mission between him, Thorin, and I guess Gandalf, three-man team, I think it would have been a lot easier to be like, oh my god, what if Bilbo gets, like, burned to a crisp? Because, like, at the moment, besides Gandalf, he's, like, my favorite character. But it's a shame because I like him, but he's not really doing anything that I'm engaged with.
Yeah.
And then, like, the stuff with the elves, I'm sorry, they're completely irrelevant.
yeah.
They shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and literally, from what I gather, I'm not going to remember this that well because I'm trying to remember some videos about this stuff. I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the last one that if you've seen these movies, you should watch Lindsay Ellis's video on these, and I'm trying to remember what she said in that. But I believe, if not all of the elf stuff, but definitely Tauriel was invented for this movie.
Why?
So, because
They needed a woman.
part of that, and okay, it was a couple of things. Again, partly I mentioned for the first one how, like, they wanted to make this as, like, a bridge to the Lord of the Rings. So hence, Legolas doing stuff, I guess. Part of it also, I'm sure, is probably fan service, because literally Legolas is just, like, a god in this, in terms of what he can do, which was, he kind of was like that in the Lord of the Rings, but this is, like, even more so. And then, yeah, there's literally no female characters in the story, so they're like, oh, we need someone, so Tauriel, and it's like, okay, but what does she do? She basically is Legolas again, and then has this sort of, like, romance thing with that one dwarf dude. And it's like, okay, we don't need this. What is she actually
Yeah.
contributing to the plot? Nothing. So...
Yeah.
It's a shame because again, there are some things that are neat, like even stuff that's stupid, like the whole like river scene. It's like it's stupid, but it's kind of enjoyably stupid.
Yeah.
And like
When they're all in the wine barrel.
yeah, and
Yeah.
again, like the stuff where Bilbo and Smaug are together. Like I like that scene, but then again, the whole thing at the end with like the melted gold like looks really fake. So
Yeah, that was fake looking.
like it's like wow, they've like I remember again, I saw people talking about, oh my god, the gold looks so fake or whatever, but I was like, I remember seeing this in theaters and I was like, I don't remember it looking that bad. Maybe it's just because again, me watching stuff on a big theater screen far away, I can't see it as detailed as like when I'm up close at home. And I think also I had 3D glasses on, which again, not only can I not see 3D that well, but also, like the 3D glasses, they kind of make things like darker.
Yeah.
So I think that might have been a reason why I didn't think it was that bad, but yeah, this looks really bad. So
They really undercutted the budget for the CGI.
yeah, no, because like Smaug looks good though. So it's like it's not just CGI in general. It's just like it was just that. It looks weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So there's some again. It's like damn it. There are things in here that I want to like, and again, I don't think there's anything in here that's like bad. It's just not used right.
No.
So
It's not engaging.
yeah, that's the main problem with it. It's not like I can't really point to like that many specific things and be like this person or this event is bad. It's just they've utilized things poorly, and they focused. Well, there's no focus. So
No.
Yeah, it's weird because like everything as a whole, it's like fine. It's just I don't
give a shit.
care to engage
can't
with it.
Tell you, it's like, okay, they reached Lonely Mountain and Smaug is released. That's basically the gist of what happened in this movie.
Yeah. And okay, so here,
Yeah.
what do you think is going to happen in the third movie?
They're going to defeat Smaug? But then there's 5 armies apparently, so then I don't know how that works into
Yeah, where the
exactly.
where the
So
fuck are the 5
and again,
armies?
we're kind of jumping the gun here, but like, especially from this, I was like, okay, so Smaug's going to attack the lake and the lake town, and I guess they're going to defeat him, and then like, yeah, apparently there's 5 armies somehow, somewhere, like.
Isn't this movie?
Yeah,
the one
because okay, wait.
Desolation of Smaug.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also, okay, here's the thing. The third movie is the shortest one. It's still not short. But it's like this was like over 2.5 hours. The third movie, it's like I think it's like 130 minutes. It's not very long. So
Oh.
Why?
exactly, it's like what. I just feel like this is such a weird place because I'm like, okay, you should have just cut all of the. Even though some of it's decent stuff happening, you should have cut all of the necromancer being Sauron. You should have cut all of that out of all of these movies. Because it doesn't affect this story, right? I get it.
Just cut the elf plot.
Well, yeah,
We
so,
don't need it.
well, I'm just talking about timing. So cut all of that out. That
Yeah.
probably in total is like an hour across both of these movies, right?
Right.
So cut that out. Then, yeah, cut out the whole thing with Tario and Legolas or whatever. And then I'm pretty sure you could condense this into 2 movies and maybe have it where, like, or no, here's what you can do. Have the first movie, again, quicken it up a bit, maybe cut a few scenes out, and have the first movie end with, okay, they're going through, they're in the mountain, they get chased by the orcs or whatever, and then they get chased into the forest, and then when they're in the forest, they get captured by the elves. And then they're like, but Bilbo escapes, or Bilbo avoids that, and then he breaks them out of the prison thing, and then they go down the river, and then that's the end of the first movie. And then the second movie could be then them showing up, finding Bard and going to Lake Town, and then going get Smaug, and then also the rest of the movie, all the rest of the stuff. Because the problem that I was trying to think is like, okay, if you have 2 movies, where do you end the first movie, right? And so I think ending, because that's like a sort of a climactic action scene, because you have both the elves, you have the orcs, you have the dwarfs down the river. Like, that's a decent kind of climactic action scene. It's not like a great one, but it's something, right? So that's kind of your climax. Then it does serve as kind of a bridge where it's like, okay, we got to the area that the mountain is, at least, right? So it's showing actual progression. It's showing, here's all the stuff we did do. Here's what we have left to do. It kind of sets things up well, and it gives more of a presentation. And again, you can focus specifically on the dwarves and what they're doing. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just frustrating because, again, like, I did see that, like, the first one has potential to do stuff decently well, and then this is just,
kind of a letdown.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's bad. Like, I put this in the higher part of mixed.
I did too.
Just because there's stuff in it that I do think is, decent, but it is definitely kind of disappointing, and yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just kind of sad and disappointing. It's not like a bad movie. It's just it's just a collection. It's a menagerie of events that some are relevant and some aren't, and because of the fact that nothing ties it together, you don't care after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main downfall of this movie, and from what I understand, from what you've said, maybe this will be the downfall of the third movie too. I don't want it to be.
I watched part of the third movie.
You did?
I'm gonna keep my bar very low.
I did, but it was we were channel flipping. That was what happened.
So I'm the only one ignorant right now.
Well, I mean,
like completely
The
ignorant.
part that I saw made absolutely no sense.
Do you really think that it'll help?
Not particularly.
Let me put it this way: I don't really remember what happens in the third movie. Like, okay,
Oh,
yes,
great.
I remember. Like yes, obviously, Smaug attacks the lake town. Okay, I remember that stuff, and there is a thing with 5 armies. I remember at least the general stuff of that. But again, like, why are the 5 armies there? I honestly don't really remember. Like,
Because,
and,
okay.
and what's like the
This is-
resolution with a lot of these other kind of plots? I honestly don't remember. Like, I legitimately do not remember at all if the whole necromancer thing is even in the third movie. I legitimately don't know. So yeah, it's just
Gandalf.
I know, like literally, I do not. I have no idea what happens to him. I don't remember.
Okay, wait. So let's theoretically say that the battle with Smaug, for some reason, only takes like 30 minutes. How are they gonna develop the 5 armies thing in like,
I don't know.
let's say, an hour and 20 minutes, and then
There's-
wrap
wait,
it up in
what are
10?
even the armies? It's like there's only 12 dwarves. So that doesn't really constitute an army. Then okay, the elves have an army. All right, the orcs, I guess, make an appearance. All right.
Then
Who
what?
are the other people?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hobbits is...
I don't know.
Hobbits is...
So
I
yeah.
guess there's the humans, but still, that's like 3 big armies and like a tiny.
Yeah. I feel like if
I know.
you're stretching, you can get 4. Like I don't know where you can get 5. Yeah.
I know the last one.
What?
It's Treebeard.
Weird.
I honestly, like, perfectly honest, that might be true. I have no idea. I don't remember. I don't remember.
I only say that because of what they did to Saruman's castle in the third Lord of the Rings movie. But yeah,
It was the end of the second one, but yeah, okay.
second, yeah, right,
Yeah.
whatever.
No, it's definitely the Eagles.
It's the Eagles.
For some
They
reason,
turn on Gandalf.
I thought you were gonna say Ewoks. That was like wrong series.
No, the Eagles.
I know. Ugh.
Oh my god. Okay, so let's wrap up this year.
It was overall kind of not great.
I don't really remember much. Except for
There was
Gravity.
nothing that was like really terrible. It was just a lot of like, eh. Like, yeah, Gravity being the giant exception. Again, even the good stuff is kind of just like, it was decent, you know. So, like, okay. The one thing that was not like, was the first one, because that was
Yeah.
an experience.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was the thing.
I am so glad that was as stupidly bad as I thought it would be. That was like, again, I think I said when for the discussion that like that was my, in terms of realistic expectations, it was the best it could have been. So
Yeah,
I'll
I
take
remember
it.
you said that.
yeah. And then there was
That doesn't exist.
I
yeah.
don't even remember that movie.
What
that well.
legit? What fucking happened in the
The
Good Day
only
to
thing
Die
I
Hard?
remember is 30-minute car chase, and that's it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I had that thing.
And I remember
Yep.
like there's this bitching with like with his son, or so I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And then there was something about uranium in Chernobyl, but God, that was
Otherwise,
so
this
stupid.
doesn't. This is not a continuation of
Yeah.
Die Hard 3.
That was stupid. And then
Yep.
the Croods.
Also
I don't
stupid.
remember
Yeah.
much of that either.
I remember some weird creature designs, but that's kind of it. Yeah. Oh yeah. What the dad was voiced by Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He had no
What a waste of
cageisms though.
Nicolas-
No, exactly. He didn't do any cagey stuff. Disappointing.
Because he's not an angel. Or a ghost.
Oh my god.
Writer.
Yeah, let's say or a writer.
I'm still salty about that.
Ugh. And then Oblivion was strange.
Oblivion and Elysium,
We're both kind of awkward.
But yeah.
yeah,
I
in their
overall
own unique ways.
I overall liked Oblivion, kind of with its weirdness, but yeah.
I still have a problem with how they handled the wife character.
Yeah, I definitely get that. So then,
Iron Man 3. Probably the second best movie of the year.
yeah, and like it's kind of sad because the pacing was so bad, but it
Yeah.
had some stuff in it that was, because I've seen people say like Iron Man 3 is like the worst movie in the MCU, and I'm like, no,
No, it's
no.
not.
It's okay. Out of what I've seen, and I did see Thor: The Dark World, between then and now, I would say it's definite. I definitely put it above Iron Man 2 and both the Thor movies, but I'm not sure exactly. I think I have it just like right below Incredible Hulk, just because the Incredible Hulk like plot you can actually like follow fine. But yeah, so is it okay? Like, is it like a step below stuff like the first Iron Man and like Captain America and the Avengers? Yes, but it's not. I definitely don't think it's as bad as some people. Like, I've seen people say it's like trash and like people hate it, and I'm just like, no,
No.
No, Iron Man 2 is definitely worse.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Iron Man 2 is not even like that bad. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, I think I have Iron Man 2 as like the highest film in like my mixed ranking. I think that's where it is. I don't know, but
That said,
yeah,
it can be agreed. I think that other than Wonder Woman, it's definitely better than all the DCEU films.
yeah. I mean,
That's just so sad.
We haven't seen Aquaman yet, so I can't verify for that yet. But
yeah, I can't.
I've heard people like Fishman.
I am
but
amazed
Yeah.
that Aquaman is apparently like decent. I can't believe that. That's just insane to me.
how
But
did they get Aquaman right, but not like Superman?
I don't know. I mean, I will stand by the claim of Man of Steel being not terrible, but it definitely has problems. But yeah, like, okay, Batman v Superman is terrible, and Justice League is bad for how like who gives a shit it is. Like, again, there's not too much in it that's like trash, but it's kind of like actually Desolation of Smaug, but like to a further degree where it's like you just don't give a shit about anything. But like it's the fucking Justice League, you should, right? So it's
right.
like
At least one of them, right?
yeah. So anyway, we're not talking about that. We're
Monsters University.
yeah,
Yep.
was fine.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for that.
Fine. Despicable Me 2 was not fine.
No,
Oh.
it was just whatever. I forgot that I'd even seen it.
I did too.
I did too.
So, yeah, and then Elysium we kind of already talked about.
Yeah.
Being kind of odd. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 was like also the thing.
Odd.
Odd.
I will say I liked all the character designs better than the minions, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though, well, when I say character designs, I mean the not people.
Yeah, yeah,
The not people.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then, Gravity.
Yes, was very, very, very good.
Yes. And then there was Frozen.
And then the Hobbit 2 happened.
Yeah.
Let's not unleash the rage again.
Frozen-
Let's
Let's
put a cap on that for now.
Frozen makes
let's
me
not
turn
have
into.
Valen become Smaug.
I was about to say that. Frozen makes me turn into. You stole my. Whatever. Actually, I need to show you. I need to find a YouTube video. So, Smaug was portrayed. There's the voice was Benedict Cumberbatch,
Oh no.
who also did motion capture for him. So there is like a behind. I've seen it. It's like a behind the scenes video with like no effects of Benedict Cumberbatch like crawling over the floor. It looks really funny. I need
Oh
to
my
find it and
God.
show it to you.
Oh my god, that's funny.
But
We'll watch it tomorrow.
I'll at least I'll link it in the thing. But yeah, it's very interesting. So
Oh my god.
yeah, overall this year is just full of a lot of eh.
Mm.
Like half of it is so hard to even remember. I guess
Yeah.
like this is the year where we forgot the most stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like
is-
what's the worst of the year.
This year?
It's actually kind of hard to say. Actually, no. I think I know it's the worst from my perspective.
Oh, yeah, I think I
No,
know what you're
it's
gonna say.
not what you're thinking. It's not Frozen.
Oh.
Frozen, at least, again, had decent visuals.
Mm-mm.
And even though there are things that I don't like, there's nothing in it that's, like, just complete who gives a shit. And so, in terms of complete who gives a shit factor, I think Die Hard is the worst. Which is really sad.
I can agree with that.
Which is really sad that that's the worst considering. Let me put it this way. Die Hard with a Vengeance was for a long time, I had it ranked at the top of the list. It's not there anymore because we've seen stuff since then that I think is better, but it was at the top of the list for several years for me. And so now this is the fact that Die Hard 5 is as bad as it is just ugh.
Let's just forget about it and crawl back to Die Hard 3 and just live life happily.
And we'll look forward to 2014, I guess.
We'll start off with something that I've never heard of before.
I've never heard of it before either, but I know I have been watching a lot of like video movie review like and video essay stuff, and I specifically know that people have mentioned this movie in terms of examples of bad movies.
Oh no.
So,
really?
But it's a specific type of bad movie. So it's not like it's not one of those like this is a totally trash movie. It's like for a genre of movies, it's bad for that genre. That's what I remember. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, but besides that first one and the thing in June and that stuff at the end,
Everything else looks pretty solid.
well, the end of the year is a
Yeah.
bit shaky again.
Oh.
But
Oh no!
Yeah.
No, I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, the October one will have to speed through a bit.
October one?
Yeah.
Why?
I'll explain after the review.
Oh, okay. I'm scared now. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here though. There's some franchises we're kind of coming back to that are good. So overall 2014 at least looks to be a little bit more interesting than 2013. But anyway, yeah, I guess we'll see in terms of actual quality. But I think it'll be better. I just don't know how much.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
with that,
We shall end.
yes, we shall.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.